All right, Evan, let's take a look at your paper. So MLA format first, so everything up here looks good. Everything here looks good. The impact of the forgotten. I actually really like that title, so kudos to you. All right, so you start your introduction with a question. I like it. It kind of is getting to the idea of the paper. When you say the poem's title, the first time you say it, add the author in too. So just go ahead and put it right up there. Don't worry about waiting till, or don't wait till all the way down here to do it. The pessimistic and matter-of-fact tones reflect the insignificance of existence as time passes. I like that as a setup to the tones. You elongate it right here, and then you get into your thesis statement. He uses diction, details, and point of view to show the reader that time renders everything irrelevant. I don't want to give you too big of a head, Evelyn, but this is by far the best introduction I've seen so far. And this is a really good case of where you don't have to have a really long introduction to be really super effective. You do absolutely everything I would expect you to do in an introduction here. If you can write this on the test, the AP test, holy cow, you're gonna blow the socks off those teachers who are reading it. So really like your introduction, so keep that up. Hopefully you are going through your main points and going back to this theme as we continue. But really good job on the introduction. Alright, so good topic sentence for this first body paragraph. I will tell you this though, especially a paragraph about diction, you're going to want to include lots of examples to prove your point. And you have boundless and bare and decay as your only examples in here. And you talk about words with harsh connotations, but you can't just use two words and call it good. And so you want to go back and look at that concept. You also need to go back and look at, you had a lot of places where there's more than one space in between words. So go back and look at that. Really go back. 1, 2, 3. So there's a lot of places that you've got way too many spaces here. All right, so as you go throughout this and as you figure out exactly what you're going to do with diction, you don't do a bad job with trying to tie this whole idea of time renders everything irrelevant. This is probably your best as far as analysis goes. So it's good, but you could probably have a little bit more in here. And this is the part that I want to come back to, because you go back to the pessimistic and matter-of-fact tones, but instead of just saying that, you need to highlight that within and you get the idea of, collapse of an empire, but I don't get a feeling of pessimism. It's almost like you're trying to state it outright instead of just showing the reader that's what it is. So I really would cut a sentence out like this and try to show us more in here the pessimism and tie that back into this a really good statement that you have here. Make sure you have a strong transition from here into the next paragraph as well. Don't forget to keep having those transitions there. All right, you get to your detail paragraph. Again, I don't have a problem with the topic sentence that you got here. Is included in the poem, so they eventually become obsolete, which is fine. I think there's probably another detail further on the poem that would better exemplify that concept. Again, you have some space issues here. You have some space issues down here. So really make sure you're going to lose points for that. And you do get, as far as this part, highlights that comes to an end and time is forgotten, which is kind of getting back to your theme a little bit. And then here again, you jump into this. But really, this is what you need to say. If you got rid of all the rest, life itself is meaningless in a world that never stops evolving, and focus more on this part of the sentence and building off of this. This irrelevance of the past is further exemplified through the author's choice of point of view. So now you have a transition here. It's not the greatest transition in the world, but at least you have it. But get rid of a sentence like this. Really build off the last part of the sentence. Go back to your thesis statement again, the idea of irrelevance, which you are at least repeating that thesis statement, but it needs to be more prominent here in this paragraph. All right, let's talk about word choice, because you use irrelevance, you use relevance, significance, importance, grandeur. You use some other words here. that will say the same thing, but we'll add different word choice. That's the kind of thing that in a AP reader is going to read, and they're like, why are they repeating those words all the time? So you're going to fix that. So you get to the point of view. I like the idea of looking at the second-hand point of view, or getting a story from somebody else that's not the primary source. I like that concept. It represents the way people are remembered through time. Even when there's little evidence, their memory remains alive through people who continue to tell their story. However, after enough time passes, details are lost and the past is washed away. I feel like you could still add on to this a little bit, and still really dig a little bit deeper into that concept of the whole point of view, because I think you lose sort of that tie-in with the point of view the further you get down in this paragraph. You got to bring it back to point of view and why that's significant. So you restate your main idea, your thesis statement here, which is good. You go through your main points. Utilize to represent the way memories are morphed, so that's good. True value is something that depends not on how it is remembered by generations in the future, but on the way it is appreciated in its time. I'm not exactly sure you really dived into this concept too much. So you may want to go back and think about that last statement. I don't know if it's the strongest last statement to make. Percy did not create that website. This is supposed to be the author of the website. So you're going to get rid of this. Get rid of this. Move all of that over, and then you will be all set for your works cited page. Okay. So Evelyn, lots of good things in here. I'm really kind of happy with where it's at, but certainly there's certain places that you can improve on and get better at. So I'm looking forward to a rewrite and another perspective on this with a few more items added in. So good luck.